This is the Steppen Gamer channel, and I am the Steppen Gamer. Greetings, gang. You know, I'm really excited about playing this game today. I've been working on my 3-player Solo Express version, and I think I've got it down to a T now. Now, I don't change any of the game rules per se, it's just the setup. So as you can see here, the board, when it's completely open, is 3 panels wide. I folded one of the panels underneath, reducing it from 12 cities to 8 cities. This is the Express version. The game just plays quicker. You know, one of the really cool concepts in Armed Conflict is this alliance chart. It keeps a different game with different alliances each time you play. When you play with 3 players, that's eliminated. They don't use the alliances, because obviously the only way you can divide up is 2 and 1, and that doesn't work. It's a very short game. But what I found happens when you play a 3-player game is you have, in my mind, much more realistic alliances. They can change every turn, and they often do. The game best simulates not huge superpowers, but small, localized conflicts, where alliances can be make and break every day, if not every hour. It's very dynamic. I began by saying I can't wait to play, so I'm going to stop talking and start playing. Here we are looking at the map. There's only one city in the center. The other 7 are around the sides. Blue starts, and blue's going to select that city. Red selects this city. White goes last and will get to select 2 cities. Now white has a plan, because remember, after everyone selects their cities, there's 2 spare cities, 8 of 6, so there'll be 2 spare cities, and white wants to make sure that they have easy access to at least one of those minor powers. They place one there and one here. Now they have these 2 cities. So red's going to pick one of these 2 cities, and blue's going to pick one of these 2 cities, because neither of them are going to pick cities they're not connected to. So this city will not get chose. So they know, white knows, it'll have easy access to its own. Then red selects next. If they select this city, then blue will select this city and have this city over here all to itself. Red selects that city. Blue has to select that city. Now blue immediately realizes it doesn't have access, immediate easy access to either of these cities. And these will be the independent cities. There's the yellow city, there's the green city. I want to point one thing out. I've got 3 powers. To differentiate their play styles, the blue power starts with 2 armor and 2 artillery in each city. The red player starts with 4 armor, and the white player starts with 4 artillery. Now when you set up, you can place your units for each city in any of the areas surrounding the city. I feel that kind of shows your hand, so to speak. You cannot move an attack in one turn. You can move or attack. So I keep all my options open, but maybe I'll find out that's not what to do. We start with blue. Blue is going to be bold. The only non-player city they can approach is this one. They take their 6 cubes. Now they can't completely surround the city. The only road they have going down the city is right here, and then they can exit the road, so they could get there and there. So this is their plan. That was the resource allocation phase. Now the move and attack phase. They have 3 different move cubes here, so they can end in 3 different areas. Now they've begun to surround it, and they're going to use their last move cube to put a brigade in this city, so it's not a sitting duck. Brigade in a city is very tough. Now it's red's resource and allocation phase. Red is going to move on this non-playing city. They have 3 cubes because they want to get into these 3 areas. And they too are going to move a brigade forward. This brigade comes up to that city. There you have red's opening move. Now you might think, hey, they've cut off this city. Aren't these guys starving? No. Encircling a unit doesn't mean you're going to starve them out. These are 1-day turns. In that sense, they could last a long time. Encircling them means they're encircled and it's a hopeless situation. That's what you're trying to accomplish. So red must occupy these 2 hexes as well. Now this is a base game. When additional versions of the game come out, and they're on the drawing board right now, they'll add air power and naval movement. So perhaps these units could invade here and land. Red is done, and now we'll go to white's turn. White gets its 6 resource cubes. Originally, white felt like it had a strong position here because it was adjacent to these 2 minor cities. But that has ended. But white does have a huge artillery park. So this is what white does. Now artillery can fire 2 hexes, but it has to have a spotting unit adjacent to the target. It has a movement cube placed in this area, and it's going to move its brigade, actually to right there. Better defense, and there they go. And with the remaining cube, they're going to send 2 more artillery down here. So next turn, when this artillery park wants to open up, I can have all 6 firing. Alright, 4 artillery are firing into this woods here. The first 2 shots are going to open up on the brigade. 6 plus 2 for the terrain is 8. I need 9s or better with my red dice. I got a 9 and an 8. The 9 will reduce that brigade to 2 batteries. Now these other 2 artillery batteries are going to open up on this hex. If one hits, they're going to fire 1 here and 1 here. 2 different battalions. A 2 and a 2. No dice. Now everyone has played their first turn. It's Blue's turn, and Blue gets 6 resource cubes. They place 3 cubes with this force here. This movement cube will go like that. This movement cube will send him down there. This movement cube will be used to send the unit in the center. You have to send the unit. You can't just surround it. You got to send a guy in. I like to say they send them in to offer terms. Terms are accepted. Blue has captured a city. Now capturing a brigade gives you 4 resource cubes, and capturing the city with a defense of 4, you double that to 8, wins you 8 recruitment cubes. At this point, Blue elects not to spend its recruitment cubes. Now we go to Red's turn. Red gets 6 supply cubes, and it places 2 in this city, and it moves like this, working their way around. Remember, Red has no artillery, it's all armor. Red moves 2 armor units to here, and with the other cube moves 2 armor units to there. And now it's White's turn. White takes its 6 supply cubes. White is going to try to divide Blue up and then capture that city. White has a plan. It needs to block these 2 cities, and the only way they can go right now is along this road. If it occupies this, it blocks them off. That'll only take 1 supply cube, because unlike everybody else, Red, with all its artillery fire, is using up a lot of supply cubes. Did I say red? White, obviously. They could give this last supply cube to one of these artillery batteries, but they're going to stay with 4 right now, just like this, and 5 right there. They move over here. Now this is a nice position to be in, because they can shell these 2 areas, and they can shell this blue city here.
Of course, they need spotters.
You know what? They're going to use this last movement cube, put it there, and these 2 artillery can be added to this powerful position. And now again they fire the 4 batteries. With 2 dice, I can fire 2 at a time. First 2 are going to fire, 1 there and 1 there. 3 and a 3, neither hit. White's artillery fire is very poor. Surprising, since I have so darn much of it. This time, they get a hit, reducing that battalion to a company. White's turn is complete. And now we're back to Blue. Blue gets 9 cubes this turn. Blue has a lot of resources. What can they accomplish? They're going to move these out of these 2 areas. I'm going to fire from those 2 areas. They want to send artillery there to join in on that. They want to bring the armor down to assault that. Bring that armor up to assault it. They'll be moving from here as well. That's Blue's resource allocation. And Blue moves. The armor comes down. So artillery lodges here. One of these artillery is going to fire on this brigade right here, needing a 9 or better. A 6? No. They fire again. No, they actually need a 6 plus 2 is 8. So 9 or better. They did roll a 9. This brigade is reduced to 2 batteries. Well, that's something. And Blue is done. Or does Blue want to recruit or combine? Yes, they're going to spend 1 blue to combine these 3 battalions into a brigade. Oh, and Blue is going to move this guy out of the way.
I'll move them up to here. Now this last artillery fires, and it's going to fire over here. 5 and 2 is 7. They need 8s or better. No, sir. Now blue is done. It's red's turn. Red grabs its 6 cubes. Places 2 like that. One moves that over there, thus completing the encirclement, and the other cube allows this battalion to move in and offer terms. Yellow surrenders. Red gains 4 green cubes for the lost brigade and gets 8 cubes for capturing the city. Now these 2 non-player powers out of the game. Red's turn is done, and we go to white's turn. What will white do? White wants to do a lot of things, but it only has 6 cubes. And this is where white's artillery starts to pale. It would really be nice to have some armor. They can use 1 cube to move this artillery somewhere useful. You can use these 4 cubes to try and break this encirclement. Because it just occurred to me, blue can encircle that much easier than trying to destroy everything in there. White is in a tricky position. It's going to lose these guys. Well, let's see what we can do. This artillery park moves up to this city so they can start trying to bomb a hole in the enemy there. It's going to take 1 more supply resource cube. Actually, they'll just use 1 of these to move a brigade to there so they can spot that armor. So here's the armor. Defending with 7. They got to roll 8 or higher. They got 4 chances to roll 8 or higher twice and get rid of that armor. Complete failure. Complete success. You get 2 hits on the second salvo, but that won't be enough. Now we're back to blue. Blue gets 9 cubes. It's really impressive. Just 1 extra city, and suddenly blue has all these resources at its disposal. Blue needs to complete its encirclement. They'll have to move. 1 of those armor will have to move. And we're going to send a brigade from Dornberg here. The last 2 will place here to shell these battalions. You know what? I actually don't need to move that unit. I can save a green block, because armor can move 2 spaces in clear terrain. Now this battalion will come down. And again, I'm forgiving of myself because I forgot to leave a movement token here so that these guys could come in and offer terms. If I was playing against another player or 2, I couldn't get away with that. But I can be very forgiving of myself. So terms are offered. Blue gets 2 green cubes for each of the battalions and 1 green cube for each of the 4 artillery. 4, 6, 8. Blue gets 8 more green cubes. They certainly needed that. Ha! And they captured an area. Defense 2 gives them 4 blue cubes. And then they fire these 2 artillery at that white brigade right there. 6, 7 for the clear terrain. They need 8s or higher. 2, 2. No. Artillery can be so effective, but it's not being very effective this game. And now the recruitment and reorganization phase. Blue wants to recruit 2 more artillery, 2 more armor, leaving it with 7 blue cubes, which is exactly enough to buy a brigade. They don't want to lose that which they just got. I was checking the rules to see if I could place newly recruited units in areas around a city, but I can't. They have to be placed inside the actual city. That ends blue's turn. Red's turn. Red gets 9 green cubes. And it appears that Dornberg is ripe for the taking. Although, having all these roads but go straight out of it, it's going to be hard to get around it. Having tanks, lots of them, really helps. Lots of red movement. Here we go. 2 cubes. These tanks can end in 2 areas. They go up to here. They can move once like that, and then they can move a second clear terrain hex. Those tanks will move there, and 1 of the groups can move to there. I've got 2 cubes to do that with. I've got 2 cubes in this area. 1 guy can move there, the other guy can move to there. And this guy is going to move all the way up into here, provide a little better defense for that. Now, that's the end of the movement and attack phase. In the recruitment and reorganization phase, Red's going to use 1 blue cube to turn these 3 red infantry companies into a battalion. And move those 3 red infantry companies, organizing into a battalion. You can break them down for free, but to build them back up, takes a blue cube. You know, I should move these two guys into the city. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Okay, blue's turn. I believe this is turn 6. Blue gets its 9 supply cubes. Blue has allocated its resources. It's going to move a brigade and 2 armor units up there. It's going to move this artillery to this city, that army there, and this brigade there. They have sent emissaries to the white power, offering peace terms. They're going to move 3 infantry companies up here to Dornburg. And these 2 artillery batteries are going to shell those 2 armor units. We need 8 or higher. Scratch that. We need 8 or higher on the red dice. 2 1s. The 2 colonels in charge of the 2 artillery batteries are going to have some splaining to do. And then each of these 3 tank companies, I don't have to specify beforehand, this tank or this infantry company is going to attack that area, which is red is going to defend with that tank company. I'm going to lose all my infantry, but I want to see if I can whittle down these 4 armor companies. Infantry uses the green die. That's a 10. That eliminates 1 armor unit. This armor unit moves up to attack back. They get an 8. Attacking infantry company only has a defense of 2. They're gone. The next infantry company presses the attack. They get a 7. Almost. They need an 8. The armor attacks back with a 10. Another infantry company lost. The final infantry company charges up, trying to get 8 or higher with the green die. They got a 10. That's what they're hoping for. This armor company runs up with a counterattack. They get a 6. Infantry company is lost. But red has been reduced to just 2 tank companies instead of 4. That concludes blue's turn, and now it's red's turn. What is red going to do? Red is going to go all in. If they can capture the city, they win. I almost forgot to give them the 9 cubes they get for having 3 cities. This is it. Everybody gets to attack. And you'll see here, the company size units take 1 cube to attack, the battalion infantry takes 2, and the brigade takes 4. I've removed all the dice except 1 red die to begin with because I've got 6 attacks with the armor. Nothing is happening until they crack this brigade. They needed 11 or 12 on this red die. I got 6 chances. 5 is no. 9 is no. 1 is no. 3 is no. 5 is no. 4 is no. This looks like the attack has failed. The 2 battalions are going to attack as well. Now the battalions roll a red die and a green die, but a green die can't affect a brigade. You need 11 or 12. So I'm just going to roll a red die for these as well. A 7. They fail. The brigade gets to attack back. Now a brigade gets 4 dice. All 4 of the dice come with the game. The battalion is defense 5, and mountains add 3, so 8. So they got to get a 9 or better.
Wrong answer, no terrain bonus.
On one of these dice. There's a 10. The battalion is reduced to a company. The company is pulled back and another battalion is placed forward. Back to a single red die. A 10. Need an 11. It attacks back, needing a 9 or better. There's a 9. This battalion is reduced to a company. Companies with a green die can't get a hit on a brigade. The last desperate attack. Can this brigade crack this brigade in defense? They roll 4 dice, 2 red and 2 green. The green dice can't do anything. A 5 and an 8. They fail. Attacking, they get no terrain bonus, so they use their 6 defense number. 4 dice, looking for a 7 or better. There's a 9. The brigade is reduced to 2 battalions. The lead battalion continues the attack. All it's going to count it gets 1 red and 1 green. Green can't damage, so all that counts as a red die. The red die is a 7. Not good enough. Counterattack. All blue needs is a 7. They've got a 10. The battalion is reduced to a company. The other battalion attacks. It needs to get an 11 or a 12. A 9. Counterattack. A 5 and 3 1. Is this brigade finally weakening? The red battalion attacks back. A 9. No. Again. The blue brigade attacks. A 10 and an 8. The battalion is reduced to a company. Now these two companies can convert these attack resources to movement resources, and they pull back to here. These two companies convert their cubes to movement resources and head back to the city. Red has failed, and I can't forget to move these two brigades into the city. Now red hasn't lost the game, but having failed to take the city, they do have a reserve of 6 blue cubes. They're not going to use them yet. Actually, they will. They're going to use 3 of them, 3 blue cubes, and they're going to put this battalion, infantry battalion here. Now next turn, this turn, you spend another blue cube and build this up to a brigade. They're not done yet. It's now white's turn. White takes its 6 green supply cubes. White has a desperate bid. The weakest city on the map is Kutheron here. Blue and red are tied up here in Dornburg. White's problem is they could bring 2 brigades down here to attack, but a brigade to do an attack needs 4 green cubes. Using a minimal, it's going to wait and try to accumulate some green cubes. This turn, all it does is use 2 cubes to concentrate in its 2 cities. Blue and white agree to do a 2-forked attack on red. White is going to work on surrounding Sarvik here, and blue is going to hold Dornburg and then begin pushing on Neustadt. Blue is up next. Here we are, turn 7, a week into this hot little war. Blue's turn. Blue has allocated resources intending to bring the hurt on these armored companies right here. Now, unlike a ground assault attack, which the defender in the defending area can simply retreat before the attack begins, indirect fire gives no such chance. I'm going to start firing these 2 artillery units, these 2 tank units, 2 5s. That will not do. The next 2 artillery batteries fire. A 10 and an 8. That is successful. The armor will convert its attack cubes to move cubes and occupy that area. I almost forgot. Well, no, I did forget. Now I'll remember. Blue gets 9 cubes at the start of its turn. Now it's red's turn. Red is going to take its 9 cubes, and they will allocate resource cubes to fall back. This armor falls back to that city. This armor can move and clear terrain, and then it falls back to this city. This infantry falls back to that city. Now red is going to use a blue cube to combine these 3 infantry companies into an infantry battalion. Now I should clarify here that artillery and armor can never reorganize to a heavier unit. They're always just batteries and companies. Infantry can organize from companies into battalions and from battalions into brigades. And that ends red's turn. White will build up its resources. It acquires 6, and that will end white's turn. Now we're back to blue. Blue collects 9 supply cubes. And now there's no more green supply cubes. There's no upper limit when you run out of supply cubes. I'm going to use black infantry companies to represent 10 green supply cubes. There, those represent a total of 20 green supply cubes. Now blue needs to position units to attack. He's going to try to capture Neustadt here. Resources are set. Away they go. A battalion enters the hills. Brigade enters the hills. The armor has to follow the road, but this brigade right here can follow the road to there and exit to there. The artillery will line up with the armor, and these last brigades move there. That ends blue's turn. How will red respond? They collect their 9 supply cubes. They're going to have to reinforce Neustadt or it will fall next turn. As Red contemplates what of these units it can use to reinforce that city, White licks its chops. This is what Red elects to do. This infantry company is going to come all the way down to here and move into that area. This brigade is going to move up into this area. Armor is going to move out around and protect the cities from getting surrounded. Now, what is White going to do? Grabs its 9 supply cubes. No, they only get 6. Put 3 back. Only 2 supply cubes is all they're going to need to spend, and this is what they do. Boom and boom. Red sends out envoys, pleading for mercy, but its days are numbered. Blue's turn. Blue takes 9 more cubes and adds them to its reserve. And now it will allocate resources. Resources allocated, it's ready to move out. This brigade close assaults this area. The armor defends. Brigades attack with all 4 dice. Armor doesn't get terrain to add to its defense. Defense is a 7, it needs 8s or higher. No. And now with 1 red die, the armor fights back. The brigade doesn't get its terrain bonus because it's attacking. Its defense is 6. The red die has to be a 7 or better. It's a 12. The brigade is reduced to 2 battalions. The first battalion attacks, needing an 8 or better. They got a 10. This armor moves up to counterattack. It's only using a red die. A 10. The battalion is reduced to a single company. This time, the single company attacks. It only has a green die. The green die must roll 8 or higher. A 7. Not good enough. The armor attacks back using the red die. All it's got to roll is a 3 or higher. A 6. This time, one of the artillery fires at this armor, needing an 8 or better with the red die. A 3. This artillery will fire. A 10. The armor is destroyed. The battalion converts its 2 attack die to 1 movement die and enters the abandoned hex. Area. I keep getting it wrong. Area. Those 2 armor units, using their movement cube, occupy that area. We have 2 artillery batteries left, and they're going to open up on this brigade. Its defense in mountains is 9. They need to roll 10, 11, or 12. We'll fire them 1 at a time. 10 or higher. A 1. They'll try again. A 7. Now with this movement cube, they're going to enter that hex, and this brigade is going to enter that area. That ends blue turn. Now it's the red turn. Red takes its 9 cubes. Red can spare no one, but they'll move a battalion into the mountains with the brigade in hopes of hanging on a little longer. Endless diplomatic notes are being sent to the white power. White sees the writing on the wall. They have a plan. They take their 6 supply cubes. And here's what they do. Everybody here moves there. 1 infantry company goes there. 1 infantry company goes there. And 1 infantry company goes all the way to there. I'm going to add 1 more supply cube to there. That's not within the rules, but I bent them a bit. Because believe it or not, I'm a little overwhelmed with all that I'm doing here. That brigade moves there. This battalion moves there. These 2 battalions move there. And that's all that white can do. Now it's blue turn. Blue is in a pickle. They do get 9 green cubes. Now they're to the point where they have to take the city this turn and win the game. And here they go again. The artillery batteries. They need to crack that brigade. First one fires. A 12. This might work. I'll continue to fire them. Now they need 9s to break these battalions down. 7 doesn't do it. A 3 doesn't do it. Come on, one more guy. An 11 will do it. And now this battalion from behind will attack. Uses a green and a red die, needing 9 or better. You got a 10. This battalion races up and counterattacks. They only need a 6 or better. They got a 10. The battalion is reduced to 1 company. And now, this brigade attacks. 4 dice, needing a 9 or higher. There's a 9. Battalion is reduced to a company. The company counterattacks. It's got to roll a 7 or better with 1 green die. That's a 7. The brigade is cracked. 2 battalions are left. The battalion needs to get 6 or higher. The company has 2 defense, plus 3 in the mountains is 5. He needs 6s or better to get a hit. An 8. This company will come up and do a counterattack. Only the red die counts. And it needs a 9 or a 10 to eliminate a battalion. That's a 6. The battalion attacks again, needing 6 or more. An 8 and a 12. See ya. Will this lone company be the hero that holds out? They counterattack. They need a 9 or 10. They get a 10. They got a 10. Holy cow. They continue to attack. Just the green die needs 6 or better. It's a 10. Units destroyed. The encirclement is complete. I've got a movement cube here. The tank company comes in to offer terms. Red has surrendered. Blue has 1, 2, 3, 4 cities. The outside world recognizes it as controlling the area. Victory to blue. Good game. Well, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. It was pretty intense. If they hadn't been able to crack that brigade, or even if the brigade had held a little longer, this might have gone to white. No, because if white takes this city, that's only 3 cities for white. This could have ended very differently. Now, I like a clean, quick game, which is why I said first power to 4 cities wins. Maybe you like fighting it out to the deadly, deadly end. Now, blue could have rebuilt its strength at this point. It took a mountain hex, this mountain hex, and that's worth 6 blue cubes, and the city is worth 8 blue cubes. So it would have had 14 blue cubes. That would give it 2 more brigades. Red, until it gets some blue cubes, is going to be pretty hard to mount any kind of threat. And that's kind of how this game goes. When someone gets knocked down, they kind of fall apart almost out of the game if they really lose a pile of units. White was down to 2 cities, but they still had a lot of units. They're still a threat. Red, not so much. But nothing's set in stone. Anything could have happened. Any strange turn of events. This is pretty intense. Thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment or a question if you have a question. What do you think about this game? I'm expecting within a few weeks to get the final copy, so I'm not just using a prototype. The final copy has a different map on the back side. Thank you for watching.